Great to see you as well as all these other nerds here. I see them on here, and I'm knighting you all as nerds because you've been to over 30 classes, so you all should know Zoom. This is going to be like a 5-minute class because you know everything already, right? No? I see Frida shaking her head. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm actually gonna show a picture of the baby, maybe even a short video at the end. So stick around. If you have to leave early, you will miss out on the nerd that will start teaching these classes in about a year because he's almost there. He'll be 2 years old. He'll be teaching, taking over for me. I'm teaching him all the technology so then he can impart that knowledge to you all. But I'm happy to get started. Let me just get my screen set up so I can see all your beautiful faces. And we will then, okay, perfect. So this is gonna be fun. They got a lot of updates. Nicole and Ashley and I, we were talking beforehand about some features. Actually, not even just today, but the last class because we were gearing up for this class. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is like some new chat options that we can actually do when it comes to Zoom. In addition to that, I want to just kind of teach you all some things that I've went over in the past just to kind of refresh your memories. I'm sure you all know this, but if you do know it, be patient with me. For the ones that actually do not understand it, I just want to make sure that everyone can have the basic, just knowledge as it relates to Zoom. And then we can also go into some, more advanced questions as well. So just as Nicole had mentioned, you can chat some questions in there as it relates to Zoom, and I'll try to do my best to answer those questions and show you how to go about it. But we want to talk about today, the main points on my list is just kind of like Zoom etiquette, what Nicole always say, you've been to a lot of these different classes. If you have a question, you just want to raise your physical hand, we can see you. It's ideal that you can use one of those reactions at the bottom and raise your digital hand because we'll get to see that and they'll get to see that in the actual Zoom and know that they can get to your question. Using some of the other features like the chat, as well as some more advanced features that they've offered us. We will go over that. Sharing screens if you are hosting your own Zoom meetings or if you are required to share your screen during one of my Health Angel meetings, I want to make sure that you all know how to do that. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and just know that if you are on a mobile device, such as an iPhone, an Android, an iPad, or some type of tablet, these things will be mostly the same. You want to really pay attention to the icon because they're going to be in a different position. Right now, being that I'm on the computer, I get the whole kit and caboodle as it relates to Zoom, and it's just going to be in this format where I can actually go and, search for those things in a very easy way. On a smartphone or a tablet, it's just kind of the smushed version of it, but you can still get to these same things if you look for that icon, okay? So without further ado, it doesn't matter if you're on a Mac or PC. I want to screenshot this here because this I won't be able to share with you because this is before I get to the share. All right, perfect. So now let me share my screen. All righty. Perfect. Can you all see my screen okay? You probably see your faces on there, right? All right. So let me just go to here, and I want you to be able to see this bottom little row down here. So this, what I would relate to like is the dock or taskbar. You see where it's, we'll start over to the left where it says mute. I know, again, some of these things may be simple for you all, but I have to state them because it's not obvious for everyone. I teach Zoom pretty much at least 5 times a week. And this is more like as not just on workshops, but even in home, because a lot of people want to connect with family or friends, or they're like, oh my God, my doctor wants to speak to me through Zoom or someone. And so I am always showing people these features. Here although, you know, you see kind of like the mute in the video, I want to just show you, I'm going to go off camera for a second and just show you what it looks like to be off camera. So two things. One, you're seeing my view on the bottom. There's a strike through that camera. I turn my video off times when I walk away from my computer. I also mute. This is just proper Zoom etiquette, just so they don't hear you in the background or see you doing something that may not be inappropriate, but just you don't want people just kind of, you know, looking into your background when you're not there. If you're busy and you have to step off, I would definitely tell you to always stop your video as well as. So I'm gonna mute this, and I just want you to see what these two look like because you won't be able to hear me. You notice again those two strikes through, and as it's there, you can kind of rest assured that no one can hear you or see you. So that's very important for you to understand. If you have to step away and you don't want people to listen in, or even if you have to take a phone call, I would always suggest that you stop the video and mute, because even if you just mute and they can't hear you, yet you're on this call and it's a very important phone call, the speaker or someone may say, wow, that person's being kind of rude. They're just talking on the phone as they're on my call, you know, on this Zoom call. So I always recommend doing that. In addition to that, pay attention to those things when you first get on Zoom or doing that call, because depending upon the device, if you're on a tablet or a smartphone, sometimes you could tap on one of those by chance and then someone's like, oh my God, we can't see you. And like, no, I'm on camera. Just look down there, because there have been multiple times where I've been on Zoom calls and either the people aren't paying attention to that small icon and they mute themselves, or they stop their video by accident or on purpose and they just forget to unmute. I have personally done it where I'm talking and I forget to unmute. And I'm like, yeah, you guys heard everything I said, right? So just be cognizant of that. We can all make that mistake. In addition to that, as we go through here, and then we'll kind of get to all the other settings, I'm just going from left to right. Participants. So as you click on this guy here, participants, on my right, you get to see the people that are in this class. So in here, I see like iPad Paula, I see an iPhone, I see iPhone M Rupal. These are all of the people in the class. So some of these people, like, you know, which actually don't have a name, like iPhone, for instance, we're going to talk about naming yourself so other people can identify you. And maybe you don't know how to rename your iPhone to your actual name. In this class, you're going to learn how to do it. But we may want to know who iPhone is because they join all the classes and they ask great questions. It's like, hey, I want to be friends with that person, whoever that is, but I don't want to refer to you as iPhone. So as you go through, you can see who's in there. Again, this is like, you know, Zoom is trying to replicate what we're doing in the real world, right? And in here, let's say you walk into a room, the same type of Zoom class, but we're physically in each other's presence. When you come in, you want to say, man, is Jen here? You're looking around and you're, oh yeah, that's Jen. Hey, Jen, how's it going? You may have a personal relationship with her and you see Frida. You're like, hey, Frida, what's going on? Here, you can actually go and say, you can see Jen Stein here and you can chat with her and you can say, hey, Jen, what's going on? That's a direct message so that no one else get to see it. But you could say, hey, how's it going? It's nice to see that you're back. Haven't seen you in a long time. Glad you could join again. How's the babies? How is this? How is that? How's the weather? That's your conversation between you and Jen. Now, if you notice, when I chose to chat there, it says direct message on the side of Jen. So if I want to pop out of that and go back up to either someone else or everyone, I can go back to everyone. Now, whatever I chat in here, everyone will be able to see that question. So pay attention to that if you are chatting something, if you want to chat directly to someone, or if you want to chat to everyone. Sometimes you may want to just send Nicole or Ashley a question directly. They're right in here and it tells you who the co-host is. So you could say, hey, Nicole, listen, I got to pop off this call, but could you do me a favor and maybe ask Julius this question on my behalf? And maybe you can email me his answer or, give him my email, whatever the case may be. But this is how you'll be able to chat with Nicole directly. Also, I am going to just get rid of the participants and I just want to see the meeting chat. So as you can see here, Frida asked at the very top at 10 a.m., right on the dot, 10 a.m., where's my baby in all caps? So not only is she asking that question, she's yelling that question, right? So what I would do is I can reply directly to her, but everyone will still be able to see this. And this is one of the new features. If you notice how I hover above this particular chat bubble with a plus, I can first I'm going to add a reaction. And when I hover over the reaction, I'm going to heart this. And you can see that now Frida's comment has one heart. All of you all will be able to see that heart as well, because this is public. So let's say, for instance, this was a question. Maybe we're in the tech, one of the tech classes where you guys get to ask all the different questions. And Frida may ask a question and say, how do you add a contact on, my iPhone or my Android, right? But another 3 people may have the same type of question. You can actually say, you know what, I like this, or maybe she may make a comment that you all really like. Maybe she may just say, hey, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing great. You can love that comment. You could just add a reaction, thumbs up, hit the little ta-da, clap, do whatever, laughing out loud. And you can have that reaction. But if you want to reply to it, which I'll say, I will show you shortly. So look at that. I haven't sent it yet, but I typed it out. You can see my message that will, once I can hit Control Enter, or I can send this. And look at this. Now I just replied to that comment, and other people, you all can reply to that comment and say, oh, great, or that's awesome. And you can, if that is a question to like, how do you add contacts? Someone can reply to that and say, great question, Frida. But not only can you, Julius, can you go over how to add, but can you also teach us how to delete that contact as well? So that's a follow-up to that first question. So this just kind of allows us to mimic what's happening in the real world. Because if Frida was in the physical class and she said, hey, Julius, where's my baby? Show us some pictures right now. And then someone else could say, you know what? That's great. I'm so glad you asked that question because I want to see the pictures too. And like, you know what? Show us a video while you're at it. So you can comment directly to her and reply to that comment. In addition to that, add your own 2 cents, right? Underneath that, you have this format, you have screenshot, you can send a file, again, the reaction, and you have the send button. Now, notice when you go all the way to the bottom here, you have these same options. So I can do that in my reply, but I can also create my own, comment instead of replying to Frida's. So I can say, hello, everyone. I hope all is well wherever you are. And I will add a little emoji, a smiley face. And before I send it, I'll read it. Okay, great, boom. Now when I send it, you all will receive that notification. It's going to be on your chat. So then you all could actually go in here and reply to it, add a reaction. And if I wanted to, I can delete my comment. So I can come here, let's say you type something wrong or whatever, you can go and delete that comment and then re-add a different comment. All right. So that's from the chat, but I started from the participants and you could still get there. But in the chat itself, if I click on this, the chat, it goes away. When I click on it again, it pops back up over there. So if you ever wanted to make your screen a little bit bigger and move the chat out the way, you don't want to get distracted, then you can move the chat out the way. So as we go through, you'll see that I have screen share. If you are on your own Zoom call, because I know that's one of the questions, if you're on one of your own Zoom calls and you can share a screen, like Nicole and Ashley they allow me the ability to be able to share my screen. They are the hosts of this whole chat and they give me that ability. So let's say, for instance, I would say you needed to share something that's very important with the class. Like, hey guys, like I know you guys go to like the different tours around the world. Perhaps you're like, oh my God, I went to that place in Italy, or I went to that place in Spain. And the speaker said, you know what? Hey, Dorothy, can you share that picture that you mentioned that you have with the class? And then he would probably, or she would probably ask Nicole for permission to give you the ability to do so. And at that point, you would click on share screen, you would have that picture up, and then you could share that whole picture with the class. Obviously, there's other ways to share pictures, but that's one way of like sharing your screen and that specific picture. The record option, you don't have any license to do so, but all of these classes are recorded, as you all know, because then they then post them on the website so that you all can go back and look at them again. Show captions. This is a great feature. Sometimes if you didn't hear something, you can always go in here and you can read it. I'm kind of one of those weirdo people that when I watch movies, I look at the caption as well as listen to it. A lot of people are like, dude, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I just like to read what I'm watching. It just, challenges me a little bit more, but I like to look at the captions. So a lot of the times, as you could see here, I just turned my captions on in English, and I can hide the captions by clicking on it again. If I click on show captions, I can actually come back here and I'll just put it in Polish, even though I don't understand Polish, but I can do that if I wanted to look smart, right? But you have that option. You can put it in any language. So if you speak another language or you wanted to hear this in a different language, read it in a different language, you have that ability to change that right over here with the captions. All the reactions are really cool because you can go in here. Sometimes you just want to thumbs up something. And when you actually do this here, when you clap, notice that it comes up in the top of my screen. So as I clap, you do a reaction, I clap, and you're going to see it. So this is the same thing when you go on the raise hand as well. So as you raise hand, and that's pretty cool right there. That's a new feature. I just noticed that when I physically raise my hand, I got a little hand in my corner there. So let me see here. I'm going to try that again. Let me lower hand. So I'm not touching anything. I'm raising my hand. And that just came up by itself in the right-hand corner. So now I think they've coupled, when you physically raise your hand, it's actually going to now put a little hand at the top, indicating that you may have a question, right? So let me click on lower my hand. Now keep it up there and just try it. And you should see something on the bottom. Now I do have the latest version of Zoom. And that actually, did it work for you all? Let me see. I'm looking at your screen. Maybe go a little higher and see if it works. And just keep it there. You all see that when I put it on there, look at the bottom of my screen and it just like kind of goes. Did it work for anyone else? Okay. I'll have to see why that's working for me and not you all. Maybe because I have the latest version, but I'm going to do it again. And I want you to pay attention to my reactions at the bottom as I do it. Again, both of my hands are here. I'm free. I'm not hitting any other button. I'm just raising my hand. And look at the bottom of my screen near reactions. It just showed a little circle, blue circle going around saying, hey, we think you got your hand up. And it actually put a hand there for me. So if it is working for you all, great. If it's not, it may be due to an update, but at least you got to exercise today as well by raising your hand and lowering it. There you go. So here, let's go over here. Let me see. Can you raise both hands? I'll raise the roof. How about that? See if that works, but that didn't. No. Okay. But it
Julius,
did work.
if you click on the arrow next to reactions, it gives you the ability to turn on the hand yeah, right there.
Okay, yeah. So I had this guy on recognize hand gestures. So here, this was turned on by default for me. I don't know if it happened when I updated it, but I don't remember actually checking this. So if this is not checked, I would check that. Thank you so much, Ashley, and have this actually checked. And then let's see if it recognizes this. No, not yet. How about this one? Okay, wait, it's doing it. Boom. That's cool. So it recognizes hand gestures if you can turn that feature on. I'm not sure how that will work with these mobile devices, but I'll certainly check on that for you all. Okay. Let me turn off this, get this off my screen. The next thing we have is apps over here. Now, as you can see over here to the right hand of my screen, these are all apps that Zoom, they've enabled this. I want to say it was like I know it was last year. I just can't remember the time, but they have all of these different apps. Now they've been there, but they've added this into your Zoom. I only recommend this if you're taking like business calls. There are some cool things in there that you can do, but most of these are geared towards businesses to, like right now, Kahoot, energize meetings, training, and presentations through interactive and game-based elements. So like My Health Angel could use something like this if they wanted to do something different in the classes. But I don't think you all, unless you like Coda, brings all your meetings, notes, project specs, action items, and teammates in one organized doc. So again, this is going to be more geared towards businesses, but there are the apps. I just want to kind of educate you on what those things are. They're applications that will be geared towards businesses that will work in conjunction with Zoom. So that's what that is for. You have whiteboards, which you could use this. So let's say you are on a call with family members and you guys want to play hangman or tic-tac-toe. I personally don't like to play tic-tac-toe because I always end up losing for whatever reason. Someone does this thing and it's only 9 boxes, right? You think I would figure it out, but you could do that if you're game for playing that game, or just doing anything where you can draw something out. You can use the whiteboard, which is a really cool feature, and I have used that when we do like remote phone calls and things like that, and I have to show people certain things. But that is a really cool option. Now, I'm actually going to jump back just for a second before I start answering questions, and I want to show you all of the different features and settings that you can have. So from a basic standpoint, whenever I open up my computer and I get on Zoom, by default, it's going to go to my MacBook Pro microphone that's built into my computer. In addition to that, my speaker, how I hear you all, is going to default to my MacBook Pro speakers. Now, if for whatever reason I put on some headphones, I can default my speaker to those headphones, or I can use the microphone from my iPhone. And you can see that Head Nerd microphone. That's what I call my iPhone. It's called Head Nerd. So I can also look at the microphone from my headphones, because I also have a microphone as well as the speakers in there. so I can utilize those. I say that all to say there have been times where I have set up an external camera for someone in addition to their other camera because they wanted a better quality. So they bought like a Logitech camera, for instance, and we hooked that up, and they would use that instead of the camera on the computer, as well as speakers that they've hooked up. Maybe they're Bluetoothing it to a bigger speaker because they want to be able to hear it louder, right? Here's where you can actually change the audio settings, the microphone and the speaker. And the same thing here, I can actually look at different cameras that I have, right? So in here, if I wanted to go a little bit deeper into my audio settings, I can just click on this little arrow to the right, click on audio settings, and now I just got pushed into this world. There you go. Let me move this down. And it just pushed me right into audio. If I wanted to, I can toggle right over to video, general settings, and you can go and look at all of these different things here. So it lets me know that my microphone is working. And I can also test my speaker. Now, you're all on mute, so I know my speakers work, but it lets me know which speakers I'm connected to. This is important because if you are using external speakers or an external mic or an external camera, and maybe something's not working, I would always go into the settings to make sure that you're on and set on the right device that you're trying to hear things with, speak things through, like your mic, or actually even with your camera. One of the best things that I found with the speakers that I really, really like is the audio profile here. I don't change a lot of these things, but when it comes down to my background noise, I changed it to high. I've taken some Zoom calls at home, and sometimes if my son is upstairs going crazy with the dog and my dog has a loud bark, they're upstairs, and even though I hear it loud and clear, I'll ask the people on Zoom, like, hey, can you hear that? They're like, hear what? I'm like, okay, just making sure. So it will block out the noises as much as possible in the background. So I also live close to the train tracks. And sometimes, again, I'm taking a Zoom call, maybe outside, and I will ask the people, hey, can you hear that? And I can hear the train again, loud and clear. They're like, no, I don't hear anything. I'm like, all right, cool. So this right here, if you do have anything in the background, perhaps you have like, someone visiting, they come, or the FedEx guys or the UPS guys, they're notorious for that super hard knock. I think UPS, those guys knock a little bit harder than the FedEx guys. They just come and bang on your door really hard. But I've been on Zoom calls where I got that hard knock, and although I hear it, you all can hear it, which is really, really cool. So if you do have any background noise when you're on that Zoom call, I think this will be the only feature, if I were you, without knowing your whole settings. This won't change anything, but I think this actually helps you out a little bit more if you can suppress those background noises a little bit more, should you have any. As I go here to video, again, you have the FaceTime camera. That's my camera built into my computer. If I had another one, I can toggle down here and I can use another one. Now, I can use my iPhone's camera to give me a different vantage point. But if I had a third party, like a Logitech camera that was, better than the camera that was built into my computer, I would see that camera. If it is hooked up correctly, I would see that here, and you could toggle down and go to that camera. Should you, have to. You have it touch up your appearance, adjust for low light, and all these other different settings that you have here. So team chat, Zoom apps, background and effects. While we're in here, because this is always a popular question, how do you change your background? So I see people with a lot of cool backgrounds, and You can add your own by having your own image in the background that that you've taken with your own phone or tablet, or perhaps it was an old picture that you just had in your computer. You will be able to add that here. Now, I've added this one in the past, and I have this Petra in the background, and it does a pretty good job as I am in here, and like, you can see like some, that it's not my real background in between my fingers, but you will really have to pay attention. I know some people that will get on here with some really cool backgrounds, and it just stays back there, and I think it's awesome. So if you had a cool picture that you wanted to add, you can definitely add it. How you would do that? First off, you need the picture. You need it on your device. So on my computer, I'm going to show you all how I would go about getting a picture. So let me close this for a second, and I'm just going to go into my Google, and I'm going to say cool Zoom backgrounds, right? I'm just going to Google that, right? So as I go through Zoom, and I can just click on images on Google to find me a cool image. And I'll say, man, you know what? How about The Simpsons? Or you know what? Let's get something cooler. I like this guy. Makes me look smart with all these books in my background. So I'm actually going to get this guy. How I'm going to get it, I'm going to right click it. Once I right click this, then I'll be able to save image as. Once I save image as, and I want to get this seems like a high quality one. So I'll just save it right to my downloads. Boom. And it just saved right in here. So now that I have that picture, I'm going to go back to my Zoom. Let me close out of here. Now it's in my downloads. I'm going to go back over here, and I am going to I can go to choose my virtual background, and I just hit the little arrow right here on my computer. Choose virtual background. It pops me right back into that same place. Once I go here, I'll click on the plus button on the bottom right of my picture right now. And once I do that, I'm going to add an image, not a video, an image. And I saved it to my downloads, remember? So it put me on my desktop. That's not where it's at. I want to go to my downloads over here. And now I need to find that picture. So the way mine is actually set up, I can see, here's that image, the Zoom bookcase. When I click on that, I can click on open, and look at that. I can kind of preview it. That's my guy. I like it. This is the one I'm going with. And I can always switch back to none, but look, it stays in there. It's in my library. So you can do this even before you get on a Zoom call and build up your images so that as you're going through, you can just change that image if you like. The ones that come, that I have, these came with it. I had the San Francisco, I had the grass, I had the beach, I had Northern Lights, and I had the earth, and then the blur. So these other two right here, I've added these myself. So if I wanted to, I can look at video filters now. Now I can actually have something like this here. Take my coolness up to the next level. What do y'all think? All right, maybe not, but, or yeah, this is more me right here. I'm looking at the world in 3D. You can use these right here, 3D eyewear, my virtual glasses right here, looking like a cyborg. Or I can actually go with my true look. How about that one? So you can play around with all these features here. And you notice that as my face is in the camera, it should indeed follow me throughout. There we go. Frida, this one is for you right here. You should definitely put this one on. And then you have the little goggles right here. So you can do this, but just make sure that you remember to take this off, because if you go into a serious phone call, Zoom call with this on, they may not take you seriously. So you just want to make sure that you take off the, go with none, and then now you're back to normal. Now, avatars, I have the latest update. If you don't see this, I would update your Zoom after the call. Avatars is something that you can create. So you can create your own avatar. Now, they do provide you with one, so that when you click on this guy here, it's in beta, meaning they're testing this out. So right now, going forward, I will teach every class with this guy. And look at that. As I move my head, it is actually, yeah, it's looking at my mouth. It's trying to mimic every single thing that I'm doing. Now, my arms, it's not moving with my arms because I'm waving my hands like crazy right now. But you have this option to use these avatars or build out your own. There we go. So let me back out of here. Let me hit none. I went back to my original self. When it comes down to my background, we'll keep that bookcase up. And what we're going to do now is pop out of here because I want to show you one last important thing, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A so I can get to the exact questions that you all want. One of the things that I would recommend is for you all, if you're coming in here, I do see a few different people in here, like Zoom user, like I said, the iPhone here, the LDR 53. If you all don't know how to name yourselves in here, I'll show you. So as I go here, let me go back. This is, I'm right up at the top. I went to the participants. So I can either go here and look at me, and I can drop down more, and I can rename myself. So I can, it's called Nerd Alert now. I'll just say Nerd Julius, rename. Now look at my name. So it says your name is changed to Nerd Julius. Also, as I go here and I see myself, here's my picture right here. I can go on the top right hand of my screen here, and I can do a lot of these same things too. So I can go right to choosing my avatar, my video filter, my background. I can just blur it. I can stop my video, or I can edit my profile picture and rename. So again, if you are iPhone user or iPad, whatever you are, and it's not just your, have your name in there, this is where you'll be able to, go and change the name. Sometimes, husbands will get on the wives Zoom, and the wives will get on the husband's Zoom, and it's like, hey, is your name Peter? Like, no, my name's Jan, but I'm under Peter's account. Well, you can change it to Jan, or you can change it to whatever you like. But I recommend, using your name if you want to do something like, the cool Susan, whatever you want to do, like Fabulous Bee, Righteous Betty, whatever you want to do. But I would definitely include your name in there. That way, my health angel, or if I'm seeing someone on here and you're asking a question, I can say, hey, Alex, all right, well, what's your next question? Instead of saying, who is iPhone user or iPhone? Because sometimes there are multiple people named iPhone because they didn't name themselves right. So I think that's a really important part in Zoom, and you can always change that. And I think that My Health Angel have it so that when you change it, it'll go in there immediately. Sometimes that has to get approval from the host, but you can do that just as quickly as I did it. In addition to that, the last part is, when it comes down to joining these meetings, a lot of people still go and join the meetings by the ID. I hope you all just clicked on the link that they provided you. That's the easiest way to get in there. But if for whatever reason you forgot how to, join, or you wanted to tell someone really quick, like, hey, like you can see the meeting ID, and this came in the email probably, depending upon how you received it. But the meeting ID, you don't have to join this way. I usually recommend everyone click on that link So if you wanted to share that link with your friends and you're like, hey, you got to join the Zoom call, it's really cool. You can share that same email, or more importantly, guide them to the My Health Angel website so that they can sign up and register, get on the list so that they can get the updates for all the other upcoming events that we have, or that, My Health Angel have. Anything related to my channel, you can share those with people, as well as all the other channels the sessions in which you join. That way people will be able to join in with no issues, and just tell them to click on the link, because a lot of times I see people typing in the meeting ID and then the passcode. That's just an extra step that I don't think anyone needs to take. With that being said, there's so much to go over with Zoom, but I want to, be mindful of the time and also get down to the questions here. So let me stop sharing, and here we go. So let's see. Now I can see the questions.
Yeah, there's a few in there. So Susan asked if you can show how to change the cover pic. So when you stop your video screen sharing, like how you have that picture right now, you're with the man with the top hat, how to add that as your profile pic.
Yes, so your profile pic, very important one. Sometimes if you don't add one, it'll just show your name. It can also show your initials. Here, how I would go about adding my profile pic, I'll just, on the top right of my little picture. Oh, let me share my screen so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm at the very top left. So on the top right of my screen, I'll hit my little 3 dots, and I am able to edit my profile picture right here. So when I edit my profile picture, I'll click on change picture, and then you'll have to have that picture on your device. So maybe if you're changing it from your computer, you could just save that picture to your desktop. If you're changing it from your tablet or your smartphone, you just have it in your pictures, and then it'll ask for permission if it hasn't gotten permission to get into your photos, and then you can update your picture from there, okay? So when it comes down to changing that image, let me see if I have an image. Let's use this guy right here. I can choose that one right there, right? And if I wanted to, I can save that image, and then that will be my image, my profile image going forward. I'll hit cancel, and you'll notice that when I hit cancel, my picture stayed the same. So I didn't make any updates, and you can always update these as you like. And some people just prefer to have their name there.
Okay.
Let's see.
So John, go ahead.
Oh, were you gonna go to John, Nicole?
No, are you still going into Susan's question? Does that work, Susan? Does that help you? Susan?
Yeah, but I know I have a friend who's constantly changing his cover pictures, as I'll call them. Does he have to, and he's doing it on his computer, does he have to go back into documents every single time he's changing? Or is there a way to store it in virtual somehow?
I have only, they're usually, every time you take a picture, the only way I've done it is it'll reach into your device, like in this case, wherever you want documents, wherever it's at on your device, and you upload that picture. I haven't seen it, mine aren't stored because I've had a couple, like the logo on this guy here, and I always have to go back in and tell it, the new picture.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Susan.
Okay, so I guess John's question, could you explain the screen sharing works? Always thought that my device had to be in the same room, line of sight, but I think it just has to be on the same router.
Yes. So John, you there?
Yeah. I actually, what I did yesterday, which kind of gives me the answer, is I shared the screen from upstairs on a smart TV downstairs. So when I was with a telephone company, they had this term line of sight. I always thought I was working between the device and the TV as like a straight line.
Yeah, so when you're talking about screen sharing, you're like when I share my screen right now, I was just sharing this computer screen. You're talking about sharing another screen?
Uh, talking about, I have my iPad, I'm watching you, and I have a
Yes.
smart television. I hit that double screen that you on the pull down menu, and then
Yes.
the screen that I have on the iPad now shows on the smart TV, which is bigger,
Okay.
and that's how I use it.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So different so when we're talking about like screen share here, like sharing your screen here, what you're doing is you're basically casting your Zoom screen on your iPad to your TV. So yeah, it's still sharing your screen. And that's how it has to be on the same network, like you mentioned. So it can actually the TV is on the Wi-Fi network, your iPad is on that network. Now it knows it can actually talk to each other, and that's how you're sharing it, exactly how you're doing it.
So the router is actually, governing both those devices, switching the video.
Yeah, in most cases, like yeah, you could Bluetooth certain things that way, but it's mostly going to be on like your network, your router that's going to share that screen.
Great, thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Okay, let's see. So Juliet asked about the direct messages that are not saved in, direct messages are not in the save chat, but are they included in the save chat for the host would get? No, that is, anything that's direct message, we never see it. Any host never sees it. It's really person to person, never comes on whoever's facilitating the meeting. You never get to see, you would never get to see that. Would your own private messages stay in the chat when I save chat? Would that happen, Julius? Own private messages?
Well, if they're actually saved,
Yeah, I would imagine.
yeah, I think I have not, you know what? I don't have the exact answer. I have not confirmed because I never tried to save my direct messages with someone. And I think it was about a year ago where I was chatting with someone for a work call, and it was about 4 people on there, and I had this conversation with these guys, and I wanted to save their contact information. So when I actually tried to save, I didn't save everybody's contact information, but when the host, stopped the Zoom meeting, I did not have access to those chats. So I don't know if anything has changed in that time. I can certainly check and get back to you all. But at that point in time, I was not able to save a personal chat that I had with someone else that I was not hosting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you're very welcome.
So how can you delete in chat? So I think you showed the hover button where you can delete if you write something in the chat and someone answered the question, you don't want it in there, you can delete your own chat. I think you can if you want to, yeah.
Yeah, let me show you this here. So let's say, for instance, I type hello and I spelled it wrong. So I just put that in the chat here. So when I go and hover over hello and I get over here to the 3 dots and it says more, I can delete that guy. And then something's going to pop up for me. I'm not sure if you're able to see this, but it says, are you sure you want to delete this message? This action cannot be undone. Other participants may still see your messages on devices where the software hasn't been updated. What that actually means is that now we have this feature where if you delete it, it will delete from everyone's devices. But they just gave you the, just a direction of saying, like if everybody is up to date on the latest version of Zoom, it will delete for everyone. But if there's
How do you
one or two
Zoom?
people that don't have the latest version of Zoom, then it'll actually stay on their devices and you can't remove that message from that device, if that makes sense.
Okay. So I do see that, there's a few, like Diane was asking regarding like an iPad. So when you were explaining some of the
Will the
features
assumptions be limited?
in the chat, are the features, do they work on an iPad? So like the heart button, the liking the comment, the responding to the person's comment. That's when you were talking about that, that's when Diane commented on that, the features on the iPad. Is it the same, the raise hand, things like that?
Absolutely. So here, let me, I'm gonna try to share this other screen with you all. Give me 1 second. Share screen. Okay. Wonder if you all can you all see this other screen here?
It's black.
Okay. Yeah, I have it on Zoom as well, and it's not, let me see if I can take a screenshot. The easiest answer to the question is yes. If you are using and you've updated your Zoom to the latest, you should be able to. Let me see if I can share from here. Give me one moment. Okay, screen. Start broadcast. Okay, here we go. So as I am in my Zoom here, all right. Yeah, this it will only allow me to on this particular screen, I can screenshot it, but when you're in here and you go to your chat on your iPad and you see everyone, and remember I had mentioned pay attention to these little icons here. So I can still react to all of these things. When you press and hold something on the computer, I had to right click. You can right click and you can get certain things, but if you hover your arrow over it, then you can actually get those, reply to features. You can get the reactions and so forth on your iPad. If you're on your tablet or your smartphone, you'll have the option when you hold that particular comment or question, you'll have the option to reply or react to it. So you still have those same options that you would have on the computer. It's just a different way of going about it. So as you look at it, just look for these same icons that you see in the chat here. As you hover over a message with your mouse on a computer, and then you'll see how you can reply to that chat or react to that chat.
Okay.
Diane, does that make sense?
Not really.
Here,
Yeah,
let me,
you know what it is you were explaining the different options that you can do, but it's on your computer. And I use my iPad, constantly. So it would be, it would have been nice if you could explain it on the iPad or on the phone as well as on the computer. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So think about this, like can you access that chat on your iPad right now?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so try this, press and hold like one of the comments in the chat.
Okay.
Now, do you see it allows you to reply as well as give a reaction?
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
so it's more about in order to, get that functionality, you're going to need to kind of interact with your device a little different. On a computer, you hover. On the mobile devices, you're gonna have to like press and hold those options because obviously it doesn't have like an arrow. But that's essentially how you would do it there.
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, great. So Lenora asked about the email. Where is the email? Lenora, if you want to expand, you
Yes.
chatted in something about the email. I don't know. Lenora, are you there?
Yes, he talked about sending someone an email, with the link or something. He said that
To
before.
invite
I
them
missed
to
it.
a Zoom?
Yeah, absolutely. So, let me ask you, are you using a computer, Lenora?
I'm using an iPad now.
Okay. So let me just see here. Okay. So on your iPad, do you see where it says participants?
Yes,
Okay, so go ahead, tap on participants. And then at the bottom left, do you see where it says invite?
yes,
Okay, and then once you tap on invite, what do you see?
yes, I see send email. I see it.
Okay, so you can
Thanks.
send that invite via email. You want to share with your friends, like, hey, jump on this Zoom call. You can just tap on send email. If your email is actually set up on your iPad, it will go through that avenue to go and send out that invite. And then you just have to, just kind of put in the person's name, like you would be sending it to, like a regular email, but it would put it in that format for you. All you have to do is put in the tube information and then send it.
Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome.
And Sheila asked kind of a question regarding to email as well. I guess, Sheila, you're referring to sending out a Zoom chat, Zoom it link to multiple people without the addresses, seeing the list of people the email is sent to. Is that what you're referring to, Sheila? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, Sheila, what you would do in that case, you have to blind copy those people, BCC. So when you send out that link, you can put the people's name in the to section. If you do everybody in the to section, everyone will see everyone's email. If you do it in the CC section, everyone will see each other's email, right? But if you do it in the BCC, I would recommend that you put your name in the to field so that you're sending the email to yourself, and then you put all the other people in the BCC field, because then no one will be able to see those other emails because that is a blind copy. Cool? All right. You're welcome.
Okay, so I know that you had gone over, Gwen, I just want to make sure you're good with the how to add your profile picture to Zoom. I know Julius had talked about that, so if you could give us a thumbs up or let us know, make sure that you're good with that. I know Ali asked if some of the options would be limited to someone having Zoom Pro version versus Zoom free version. I think Zoom free, all of this is available on Zoom free. The only reason Zoom Pro is really the extended length of time for Zooms, but all the features are the same. That's,
Exactly. I agree. The extended time, as well as I know you have just some other things that you could do on the back end with
Yeah.
the pro version, but it's mostly for the extended time. Absolutely.
yeah, it's like all the hearts and the likes and the comments, and that's all for for free version. That's not limited to. Yeah. And then the can you save the closed caption wording, or does it go away at the end of the session? That I'm not sure about. I think it's, yeah, I don't, yeah.
I got an option to let me see, view full transcript. Yeah, so there is a full transcript of, great, get that function out here. Okay, yes, so there's a transcript. Let me show you here. captions. So as I go to more here, and I go to captions, and I go to full transcript, I'm able to save this transcript.
Mhm.
And you can see as I'm talking, it's recording it right here and transcribing it. So once I can stop, and it has a timestamp as well. I can save this transcript, and it just showed here. So you can save it if you like.
Perfect. All right,
Yes.
great. So Diane, I asked, how do you save chats on an iPad?
Let's see here. Saving chats on the iPad. Saving chats or the transcript, Diane?
Hold on a second. Diane, are you there?
Chats.
Let's see.
I find you don't have all the features on the iPad that you do on the computer.
Yeah, I'm checking because the iPhone is very similar. Let me see here. Close, pop out, chat is disabled. I am unable to save right now. The chat is disabled. And even before, like, I didn't see a feature to save this particular meeting chat.
Julius, just so you know, our specific meeting, you can't save the chat, but that's a feature
Okay,
to turn on and off. So on your personal Zoom, you should be able to save the chat.
got it. Okay. So yeah, that's one of, like, as far as like having a pro account. And again, like Nicole mentioned, you could do this even with a free account. You have the administrative rights to kind of restrict and allow certain things as it relates to your Zoom meetings, like how, like, when you all like join the Zoom call, you get put in a waiting room. You can enable that feature, disable that feature. So as the admin, you'll be able to do exactly what Ashley mentioned. You can allow people to save the chats, to record on their own, and do all of that good stuff. You'll have the license to do so.
But not if you're not the host. If you're not the
Yes,
administrator.
exactly.
Yeah, because sometimes emails and information are put in the chats and you want to have that information and you can't save it.
Yes.
But you could take a screenshot, right, Julius? You could
Yeah.
take a
Oh, yeah.
screenshot. That might be a good one. So if you can't save it, if you want to show them how to do a screenshot, and then you could screenshot that and it saves, so you can go back to.
Yeah, how do you do that on the iPad? I know how to do it on the phone.
So what type of iPad do you have?
I have a mini iPad, an Apple mini iPad.
Does this still have the button
What?
on the front? Like,
Yeah.
does it have like a little, okay. So you can actually hit the, like, kind of like that power button or sleep wake button with the button. And that, if you hit those at the same time, just really quick, that will take a screenshot on your
Oh,
device.
okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I see a couple hands up. So Kay, go ahead if you want to unmute. Hold on.
Thank you. Yes. Zoom, doesn't that automatically update?
No, it does not. Like, I know you could have a feature turned on, like on your mobile devices, where your apps can automatically, they should update. But even though I have that feature turned on, sometimes, like, if I haven't been on like my devices for a while, I didn't follow the steps that it need to be, like plugged in, blah, 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 didn't update, I typically always check. So on the computer, I go to before most Zoom calls, I'll go to see if there's, it's the option to check for updates. I go and check it, because there can be an update that just happens right before the Zoom call starts. And if you want to get the latest features, I would always ensure that you're up to date. So I would just manually check. But I know that even though I have like some of my apps on automatic updates, I had to do it on one of my phones and the other one did it. On my computer itself, it did not do it.
How do you check it?
Which device are you on?
I'm on my laptop or
Oh.
or my iPhone.
Okay, and what type of laptop do you have?
1100, let's see, 11, Windows 11. No,
Okay.
Windows 10 on my computer.
Windows 10. All right, let me just see here. Got it. All right. So that's if you're signed in. Let me just show you this screen here. Just share my. This is what I actually just did, and this will be really good for you all to do as well. Zoom has a lot of information about every new feature, every single thing that's possible on their platform. So upgrading the Zoom desktop specifically for Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, and it shows you sign into your Zoom desktop client, and you can click your profile picture, and then you would check for updates there. If there's a newer version, Zoom will download it and install it. When it comes down to doing these updates on an iOS device or a Android device, here's another one, and you would have to go into your like Google Play Store or the App Store and look for the updates. If they haven't done, the update automatically, you should see all your apps, including Zoom, showing that you need an update. So this is basically the way you would go about it is, just clicking on your picture and then checking for updates. Now, also, let me show you here, like I see this other option. Let me just share my whole screen with you all. I see this other option here where I can go right up here to Zoom OS on my Mac, and I have another option to check for updates right here. So you go here, check for updates, and it'll let you know I'm up to date. You're on the latest version. If you're on the latest version, you're in good shape. Hello? Okay.
Yep, Mariana, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm on the latest version of Zoom and I'm still not getting that instant reaction for that hand, the raise hand feature. So
Here,
I'm not getting
Ashley,
it.
did Ashley had mentioned, like, so when you click,
The
Brianna,
ra-
when you click on a little arrow right here, is this checked?
Yeah, it's checked. Yeah, and I'm still not getting it. So I'm not sure what's going on with that feature.
Yeah, raise your hand a little higher
Let's see.
and keep it there. No?
No.
One of the things you could do is, I'm not sure, no, because it's actually recognizing my background. Maybe try to restart the computer afterwards, and see if that works. But if that's check mark, okay, let me lower my hand. Because right now it's not check mark. And now I'm going to click on it again.
Yeah,
And I'll look at it and it's check mark. So now it should recognize it.
I'm gonna try to restart the computer then.
Yeah, try that.
on.
I think that may give it a boost.
And I have also another question about the chat. You said to take a screenshot because the
Yes.
chat was unable to save the chat before it was disabled.
Sure. You could, are you taking that screenshot from a Mac or a PC?
Oh no, it's a PC.
Okay, so it's called the snipping tool, which I think is really cool. I mean, we have a version of it on the PC, but it gives you a little bit more control. If you go to like, are you on Windows 10 or Windows 11?
11. I'm on Windows
Okay.
11.
So let me show you what the can you see my screen here?
Yes.
This is what the snipping tool looks like. If you go to the 4 squares on your taskbar, like on the bottom left, not all the way on the left, but on Windows 11, it's kind of like in the middle on the left, and you click, and then it's in your apps, and you just start typing the snipping tool. That should pop up. Once that pops up, if you click on it, it'll then give you the option to click and drag what you want to the screen capture or the screenshot, and then you can save it to anywhere you want on your computer. You can save it on a desktop, you can save it to documents, but essentially this is that tool to capture the screenshots right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ally, go ahead if you want to unmute.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Thank you, Julius. I really
You're
appreciate
very
you
welcome.
to present to us. All right, so I was looking for the snipping tool. Is that an app within Zoom or outside of Zoom? This is like an app on one of the extensions on the computer?
No, yeah, this is right built into your Windows computer. What operating system are you using?
I have a Windows. I don't know which version. I don't remember.
Okay, perhaps so I would look at the Windows icon. It could be it's probably on your bottom left, no matter what. And whichever version you have, if you click on that Windows icon, if you're using Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10 or 11,
To go into my programs?
Yeah, in your programs, or you can just start typing snipping tool, and then it should
Got it.
pop up.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out. I didn't know that that was a feature. That's great. I know that I can do that in, wait a minute, in Zoom when I'm sharing with friends and stuff like that, I can definitely capture an image outside of Zoom and populate it into the chat. So is that the same feature?
Yeah, the snipping tool is just a screenshot that's the screen capture software built into your computer. And you can use that anywhere. You could save it, send it in an email, or share via Zoom.
Okay, I'll have to play with that while I'm in a Zoom call. The other question that I had was okay, so I noticed that in some meetings, the host will, and I don't know if it's called disabling chat, because that's when you can't type in chat, but when they will not allow for the chat to be saved. I guess that feature is disabled.
Yes.
Right. So once, and I've been in meetings where the host might say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was disabled. Let me try to enable it. Now you can save it. But I guess one would have to have done that at the top of the meeting, because we're still not able to save it after, say, the whole meeting is gone. And if they've done it and maybe not rebooted their Zoom, we're not able to save anything, and they're not able to save anything. We've gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's time consuming. So I would imagine that if the chat is not savable, that was because the host intended it not to be savable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an option as an admin, the host, you have that on the back to allow chats to be saved or not. You have all, there's a lot of different things that you can turn off. People could chat at all, you can turn off that feature completely. You can also stop sharing files and things of that nature. They have all the controls.
Right. So if they're not aware of that, should one ask at the top of the meeting? Is it too late then, or does it have to be done before participants join? I don't know how that works, because a lot of times the host doesn't know either.
Yeah, I would say, I'm not sure how fast Zoom could be to if they turn that feature back on, if it just will apply immediately. I would think it should, but I have not personally tested that feature out to give you a definite answer. But I do know that host will have to go into their admin rights or their admin panel to be able to change that feature.
Okay, and similarly with the save, what is that? With the transcription, one would have to have enabled the transcript at the top of the call, because otherwise it only starts recording once you've enabled it and you can't go back, right?
I'm gonna make that assumption. I won't give a definite answer because on all
Okay.
of the ones that I've been on, I've always been able to save the transcript. And I know maybe even hours whenever I host something by default, I never changed anything and people are able to access that. So I'm just gonna assume that it's by default. But there may be rights that the Zoom host will be able to take that feature away.
All right. Thank you, Julius. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole and Ashley. All right.
Very welcome.
All right, and I see that Barbara Waldron, go ahead if you want to unmute.
Yeah, Julius, I never like to miss when you're on. I have a chaotic morning, so I was in and out. So the question I'm about to ask, I don't know for sure if you covered it already. If you have, then I'll go back in the recording to see it. My question is, if I'm doing a Zoom call, and I wanted to write something so the person could see. In other words, I've been on Zoom calls already where they're writing something and I could see what they're writing. How do you access that feature? And if you covered it already, in fairness to everyone, I'll have to go back in and do the recording and see it. If you haven't, I'd like to get the answer.
Sure. So Barbara, you mean like if I'm chatting something, how would you go back to see what I messaged in the chat?
No, like, like say someone is doing something and you want to do a demonstration and
Share
writing.
screen?
Oh,
Yeah,
like
on the
maybe like
screen.
whiteboard?
Like a board, like a whiteboard, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in that case, if they have like if I create whiteboard, and just see. You mean something like this right here? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So if they're writing something up here, okay, let me see if they move it to trash or if they actually, yeah, who can see what you're sharing? This is everyone can see it. Yeah, I would say at that point they could share it with you. I'm not sure if they take this down. Like when I close this whiteboard, it's just gone. Now, as the host, I can access that later. But I think for you, it may be advantageous for you to like either, if you are on a Zoom call like that, maybe request permission to record. If they are not recording, and we'll show you later. But we didn't go over that. So that's a really good question. I would say, yeah, you would have to request whatever they created on that whiteboard that they share it with you all.
In other words, sometimes I'm speaking to someone, right? And she does meditation and she would draw like a moon and a star, and I'm seeing what she's doing. Is she doing it on a board that the camera is facing, or is she's doing it on a desk and the camera picks it up?
It depends. So it could either be like what I just showed you on a whiteboard, or it could be like a physical board where another camera is facing, right? Or there's an option where she could face her camera down and she can be doing it right on her desk. It's hard to say without seeing it, but there are various ways that you can like share your, not just screen, but kind of share presentation outside of what you're doing live.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome.
Okay, we'll take the last two questions, Lenora and then Julie. Go ahead, Lenora.
Sorry, I just need you to repeat how to save the closed captioning.
Oh yeah, so the transcript itself, what you would do on your computer, you would go to, let me close. Go to more if you don't see all of the different options, or if you do see where it says show captions, I would click on the arrow and then view train here. Let me just share my screen so you could see it. And then here you would, like, I'm just clicking on show captions and then view full transcript. And this right here will show the whole transcript, so everything. And you know, it's still recording, and all you would have to do is just hit save transcript.
And once I save it, does it stay on the computer if I save again, or does it go over it?
I don't know if you can see it. Oh, falling is not an option. Thank you so much. Okay,
Julius, you there?
Does
it freeze up?
Once you save it, does it stay there, or does it override from something else?
Can you ask that question again?
Sorry. Once you save it, does it stay on your computer? If you save something else, does it override it, or does it stay there?
Oh, it stays there until you actually physically move it. If you delete it yourself, then it'll move. It'll, go in the trash, but nothing will overwrite it because that's a unique file. So you're saving it to your computer and it should stay there.
And do you have to name it like a file, or it just stays there?
It names it on its own. You can always go in there and change that name as well and give it a unique name, but it will automatically name it and put it in the folder for that particular date and time in which you saved it.
Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome.
All right, last question. Julie, go ahead.
You had asked the original question about saving the transcript, and I tried it and I got a message that came up and said, you can only save it if the host has given you specific permission. And also I'm finding that unlike your screen, the transcript does not come up even when you say view full transcript. Apparently the host controls all of that. The only thing I can get is the actual sentence you are saying at the time. I can't even see the full transcript.
Okay, and that's important.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, that's
everyone.
important to know, because when it comes down to it was kind of like there was another question as it related to like the chat and what Ali had mentioned, her question, like the host has complete control. So just like you all just can't record. Now they've made me a host as I come in, giving me all the abilities as, most, I wouldn't say even most, a lot of the abilities that they have. So Nicole and Ashley are the head coaches. I'm just the quarterback. So I can do certain things in here, but I can't do everything. But as a co-host, I have a little bit more license than you all do in seeing that whole transcript. Now, on the back end, if they were to allow the transcript, because there are so many different customizations as it relates to Zoom, there's so many different things there that they can turn on and turn off to allow and basically remove these different rights from you all. But I'm glad you brought that up. So not everyone will see exactly what I'm seeing. Just like if you try to share your screen and do a lot of things that I'm doing, those things may be prohibited, because then everyone can share their screen or everyone can, do certain things, right? Renaming certain people. So they only give certain license to certain users and certain abilities to certain people, if that makes sense. And
But
it's
Julius,
all
the thing is, you're actually not a co-host. So what you're seeing, someone else might be able to see, because if you're not a co-host, you're just a participant and you got the chat. So you have share screen ability. That's the only thing I think that you have.
that I have.
Versus not a co-host. So I don't know.
Yeah, okay, well, I thought maybe you all because if I was.
No, only the
assuming-
share screen, but, you know,
Okay.
I don't know, because as far as for the transcripts come up, you know, as you, like you see it on this, when you share your screen, we all see the every word being said with the
Yeah.
timestamp. So I don't know, because it's not under co-host feature. Because
Yeah,
you're not,
so
actually, we didn't, there's
that
only
makes
myself and Ashley right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I was assuming that if she only saw that,
Yeah,
maybe to but in that case, okay, yeah, in that case, you should be able to see the transcript because Nicole just stated I don't have any special rights, and the only thing I did, I can share my screen, but as the show captions and then go into the transcript, the full
I
transcript.
think it's the little arrow on the top where you show captions, you push that button, and then you say full transcript, subtitle settings, things like that.
Yes, that's exactly what I see. That's exactly what I did.
And if you hit full transcript, you should see it because it's coming up right now on the side of my screen.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, captions are going to be different than the full transcript, Julie. I'm not sure if that's what you were mentioning, but full transcript, I see everything. And
Yeah, same.
I know, like I had mentioned before, I do this in my own classes when I teach, and I never turned on any special ability for anyone, and everyone has the option to save the transcript.
Well, I just did it now and it worked fine, but when I clicked it before, I got a very specific message that said, you only can do this if you have specific, I would say permission. I don't know what the word they use from the host.
Got it.
That message did not come up this time, but I have it now. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
All right.